Welcome to the RLSB's Autumn edition of LifeChances, published as the Dorton campus begins its 2011-2012 academic year. For nearly 175 years, the Royal London Society has helped improve the life chances of blind and partially sighted young people in London and the South East. We have changed a lot since our foundation in 1838. And continue to do so as we move into the 21st century. Let me share 3 powerful facts. Infant sight loss is increasing by 2% per year in the United Kingdom. In 2011, there were 400 such babies born in London and the South East. 1 in 3 young people with sight loss have levels of depression, and this is increasing. The first fact is explained mainly by the increase of survival rates of premature babies, which has increased paediatric sight loss. Explaining the second is more complicated. All young people have higher expectations than they did 25 years ago. However, as sighted young people have seen barriers to their progression fall, unfortunately, the same thing cannot be said about blind young people. There are 7,000 people with sight loss under the age of 17 in London and the South East. And unless tackled early, their depression will continue, reducing their likelihood of success or indeed of finding a partner. The third fact is more positive. Research suggests that care delivered closer to home works best for the individual, family and friends. These 3 facts have influenced our strategy for the next 10 years. Stepping Up sets targets for solving these 3 key issues. Our Dorton campus focuses on life skills and developing other activities. In London, we help young people meet each other and gain practical skills. But we can always do more, and for that, we depend on the kindness of people like you. If you would like a copy of Stepping Up, please contact us on info, that's INFO, at rlsb.org.uk. We are changing the way we communicate with audiences. We would really welcome your feedback. We hope you are excited about the future as we are, and thank you for your continued support. With my very best wishes, Tom Pay.
Palace thanks nursery children. Staff and children at Dorton Nursery were astonished when St James's Palace wrote to them to say thank you for a card made to celebrate Prince William's marriage to Kate Middleton. The letter from Correspondence Secretary Claudia Holloway reads, "The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have asked me to thank you for their lovely handmade card. What a splendid crown you made with all the beautiful jewels, the silver heart and gold glitter. It really is delightful. I do hope you enjoyed the wedding. It was a very special day." Nursery manager Maggie Binden said, "It was great to get a response. There must have been thousands of cards and letters, but for the Palace to reply and mention specific details was really special." RLSB gets set for big merger. Blind and partially sighted people in Greenwich are set for improved services following the announcement of the merger of Blind Independence Greenwich, BIG, and the Royal London Society for Blind People, RLSB. The merger will ensure that all the existing BIG services such as advice sessions, classes in Braille and regular social activities will be guaranteed for the future. The RLSB link will also lead to an expansion of the opportunities available for locally visually impaired children and young people. The new RLSB services aimed at helping clients develop independent skills will be introduced over the coming months. Henry Buford, Chair of Blind Independence Greenwich, said, "This exciting move ensures that BIG's services to Greenwich will not only continue long into the future, but will expand and improve. I would like to thank our team for all their hard work in making this merger such a success." Ian Stevenson, Chair of the Royal London Society for Blind People, said, "The merger is an excellent example of the way charities can protect and expand their services in these difficult times. We're working together to ensure our clients in Greenwich get the support they need to live the life they choose. At least one event a week will be guaranteed for Greenwich residents in the future, increasing the reach of BIG services. Hard-to-reach groups will also be specifically targeted, with satellite meetings taking place outside of Greenwich in Thamesmead, Abbey Wood and Charlton. The merger will also include a broadening in the scope of services, with activities specifically designed for younger blind and visually impaired residents, such as outings to local music events. Future meetings will also include open forums, with council officers and elected members, giving visually impaired people more of a voice in front of key decision makers.
Magical day for Dorton Pair. Magic was in the air last month as blind couple Mark Best 42 and Christine Miles 38 tied the knot with a Harry Potter themed wedding. Mark and Christine first met during their time at Dorton House School in the 1980s, although it wasn't until 18 months ago that love blossomed after they were introduced by a mutual friend. But their big day didn't go without a hitch, as the bride was stuck in heavy traffic on the M25, causing her to be 5 hours late for the ceremony. Mark said, "Everyone pulled together and made the best of a bad situation. When my bride turned up, there was a massive cheer, as you can imagine." The wedding at United Reformed Church in Tunbridge was followed by an enchanting reception. "We had tables decked out in the house colours of Harry Potter," said Mark. "There were the 4 house names, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, and we were at the high table, being the happy couple." The new Mrs. Best added, "The Harry Potter theme for a party was excellent fun. All those that knew about Harry Potter dressed up as various characters." Also in attendance at the wedding was Laura Hills, 83, who was a carer for the couple during their time at Dorton House. Mark and Christine described Miss Hills as having been like a second mother. Mark is now the piano tuner for the RLSB's Dorton House and a prominent member of the Dorton House Ex-Pupils Association. Following the big day, the newlyweds spent their honeymoon in Devon and enjoyed local food and trips on the steam railways. All of us here at the RLSB wish Mr. and Mrs. Best a long and happy life together. Helping to create sporting stars. The Royal London Society for Blind People is planning to give blind cricketers the chance to play at county level and perhaps even represent their country. Working in conjunction with Cricket for Change, the plans centre on giving 16 to 25-year-olds the chance to continue playing a game that is widespread among younger visually impaired VI people, but which is often abandoned once they get older and face difficulties arranging their own transport to and from matches. The RLSB plans to raise £250,000 over 5 years to enable VI young people to take an active role in sport. This money will go towards providing accessible sporting facilities and supporting the mobility needs of participants, enabling them to travel independently to training and matches. Additionally, the RLSB Dorton House campus will be upgraded to host sporting events. The aim is for this project to be up and running for the 2012 season. Blind cricket was invented in Australia in the 1920s and has spread around the cricketing world. 3 World Cups have been held. England and Australia have twice contested the Ashes, with England emerging victorious on both occasions. Other initiatives are being researched to ensure that VI children and young people are given the chance to compete in competitive sport at a high level. Further announcements are expected, so watch this space.
Stepping towards the future. 2011 is a year of new beginnings for the RLSB, as it recently unveiled its strategy for the next 10 years. Entitled Stepping Up, it boldly envisages a country where blind and partially sighted children and young people take their rightful place alongside their sighted peers as fully valued and confident members of society. Taking the lead. The RLSB will be at the heart of the vital improvements in educational and emotional support and social inclusion needed to fundamentally improve the lives of blind and partially sighted people over the next decade. When we talk to young visually impaired people, many tell us they feel lonely and isolated. They are more likely to suffer from depression, have difficulties forming and sustaining relationships, and are much more likely to be unemployed than sighted people. The RLSB will be there to address these issues and to provide vital services, whether these are delivered on-site, at nurseries, schools and colleges, at home or in the workplace. Supporter views. We've already canvassed the views of a cross-section of our supporters on the new Stepping Up strategy and the way we intend to develop over the next decade. The results are very encouraging. The vast proportion, 90%,
of those who replied to our questionnaire supported the new strategy. An even greater proportion, 95%, were encouraged by our commitment to focus on the softer skills of emotional development and building social inclusion and confidence. One like-minded respondent said, "Over the last 40 years, education has been increasingly geared to making people successful, whereas I believe that it should strive to make RLSB students happy, well-rounded individuals, able to take their place in society, whatever their abilities." Another supporter said, "I think the society has thought things through very well and send best wishes for the wonderful work that you are proposing for the future." Our supporters were also keen to tell us that they wanted to be kept informed of progress on the strategy in succinct and clear ways, without overspending on advertising and marketing. We have certainly not lost sight of the need for cost-effective ways of both delivering our services and raising money to undertake them. This will be a guiding principle in our efforts over the next 10 years.
No business like dough business. Visually impaired teenagers improve their cooking skills at an RLSB workshop in Balham, South London, in August. A group of enthusiastic would-be chefs learnt how to prepare and cook uniquely designed pizza under the watchful eye of Andy Farrow, RLSB volunteer coordinator and expert cook. Participants learnt how to knead dough and choose their own toppings, with the cooks experimenting with different ingredients. The session also included a film section, where the young people took it in turn to explain their preparation technique as part of a DVD. Give the gift of your time. Want to make a difference locally? We're looking for volunteers to help. You can now help the RLSB by selling Christmas cards, distributing collection tins, collecting recycled goods, and many other ways. By volunteering your time, you can raise vital funds. Find out more about volunteering by contacting Sally Lorraine on 01792 592 515 or email sally.lorraine, sally.lorraine @rlsb.org.uk. Your letters. Write to us at RLSB, Dorton House, Wilderness Avenue in Seal, near Sevenoaks, Kent, TN15 0EB. Email inquiries@rlsb.org.uk or find us online at Twitter @RLSB Charity or facebook.com/RLSBP.
Mary G. Smith from Thatcham writes, "Dear RLSB, I fully support your aims in stepping up, particularly for nursery-age children, as I believe the earlier they receive the help and training they require, the easier it will be for them to integrate in mainstream schools. I also applaud the decision to raise the public profile of the society. In these difficult times, people may be unable to donate more. Therefore, in order to raise the income, more people are needed. The work you do is fantastic and warrants more public support." BJS from Gravesend, "Dear RLSB, I am particularly impressed with your vision of assisting and enabling children in mainstream education. It's vital that visually impaired youngsters feel part of society and therefore less isolated. Such assistance in school or college will have the dual purpose of helping the individual and helping staff and other children to have a greater awareness of the difficulties visually impaired children face."
RLSB says, as mentioned in the Chief Executive's introduction, for most people, care works best closest to home, family and friends. We are developing our services both at Dorton House and in mainstream schools and the community at large in London and the South East.
Peter Turner from Leeds, "Dear RLSB, whilst fundamentally agreeing with all the objectives of your strategy, my only concern would be that too much donated money may be spent on marketing and advertising agencies. I want my money to directly help the children, not pay for consultants."
RLSB says, there are more than 700 charities in the UK helping people who are blind and partially sighted, sometimes with other disabilities. This means we have to invest in marketing and fundraising, or we couldn't keep the promises we have made. Our voice simply wouldn't be heard. We will, however, be ruthless in providing our supporters with value for money.
FP from Tunbridge Wells, "Dear RLSB, when a friend of mine gave birth to a daughter with severe impairment to her eyesight, I later witnessed the comfort and reassurance she and her daughter were offered by the RLSB's Dorton House Nursery. I applaud the extension of your horizons and hope that your funds will enable you to achieve your ambitious objectives." RPS from Guildford, "Dear RLSB, Your aims as set out in your strategy are laudable, but it's not clear how you aim to raise revenue by 100% in 5 years, when all other charities are trying to do the same and disposable incomes are currently declining.
RLSB says, "There's no doubt that the environment in which we and all other charities operate is tough. However, in our strategy, we have identified a real need for blind and partially sighted people, which, with determination, we can address effectively and in a very different way. The provision we will offer is not available elsewhere, and through engagement, we believe people will be willing to fund that gap."
Mary Phillips, ex-pupil of Dorton House School. Dear RLSB, I came to Seal as an infant in 1954. Things must change. This stepping up strategy is a way in which the Society can continue to help blind and partially sighted people, as well as supporting children and young people in education.
Previously in LifeChances, Dorton nursery manager Maggie Bindon received a letter from one of our supporters after they read the last copy of LifeChances, which told the story of young Jack Fowler. Dear Maggie, this is just a line to thank you for all the wonderful work that you and your team are doing. I have recently read the story of little Jack Fowler. How wonderful. Sometimes I am sure that your work is hard and needs infinite patience, but your reward must be the outcome. I continue to support Dorton House and wish you all well. Jack was born with a form of dwarfism, as well as cerebral palsy and impaired vision, but in 2008 he became a pupil at Dorton House Nursery, and, thanks to your support, the RLSB were able to help Jack and his family. The happy youngster progressed well at Dorton House and is now a day pupil at a school which offers high-quality learning and social and health care to children with physical disabilities and complex medical needs. Jack's mum, Kirsty, says, "Hopefully Jack will achieve whatever he wants, and it's all down to the foundations for learning that were put into place at the Dorton House Nursery. None of this would have been possible without you. Thank you."
Under the spotlight. Harry Ward-Mullis, 18, is a member of our Greenwich Young Persons Peer and Social Group. So, Harry, how did you hear about the RLSB?
It was when my mobility trainer mentioned the group to my dad. He thought it would be a good idea to try it.
Where were you before?
I tried out different groups in Greenwich, but I didn't fit in very well. It was very difficult to connect to the other young people there. I think it was because their disability didn't have much to do with mine.
How has the group been?
I really like it here. I like the students and the staff. One thing I especially like is that some of the staff members are also visually impaired. They can understand you better, and they don't do their job just because they're getting paid.
And what's been the highlight so far?
Wow, it's difficult to choose just one. I like going to the theatre to see the musical Wicked.
What are your ambitions for the future?
I would like to work with computers and music. I really like music, and maybe I could work in a studio or build websites. I don't really want to work as a waiter or something like that. You know, when you have to clean the tables. I want something bigger. Maybe the RLSB could help me with that. Oscar nominee who linked Dorton to Africa. Acclaimed British war photojournalist and filmmaker Tim Hetherington, who died covering the conflict in the besieged Libyan city of Misrata earlier this year, was closely linked to Dorton House School. Jude Thompson, former Dorton head, attended Tim's memorial service in May. He was a remarkable person, said Jude, 1 in a million. He had an amazing ability to negotiate with governments and organisations, as well as having a natural ability to get on with young people, disabled and non-disabled. Tim's involvement with the RLSB stemmed from a personal project of producing a tactile book of photographs for young blind people. Tim spent many years in Sierra Leone photographing the conflict in the capital Freetown and working with Peter Penfold, the former UK High Commissioner for Sierra Leone, and he developed close ties with the pupils and teachers at Milton Margai School for the Blind, quickly connecting the school with Dorton House. Starting in 1998, the children of the respective schools wrote to one another in Braille, Tim often acting as the postman in a country bereft of a postal service. This led to the Sierra Leone Schools Choir touring the UK on 2 separate occasions. Albert Sandy, deputy head teacher of the Milton Margai School for the Blind, was full of praise for the first exchange in 2003. Our trip at Dorton House School was sensational and momentous. The abstract aspect of our partnership scheme, the exchanging of letters between pen friends of the two schools, became a reality for all concerned, since pupils met for the very first time. A host of other projects took place, with pupils sharing musical talents, rehearsing together before singing at a number of concerts, with performances in English and Creole, a Sierra Leone language. Pupils from both schools also discussed issues surrounding war and conflict, while Tim stayed quietly in a corner taking photographs. Dorton House teachers also visited Freetown and were astonished at the children's independence. Youngsters went out on their own using prepared routes without a carer or a cane, needless in a country with no pavements and many gutters. The pupils' independence was also clearly evident when the Milton Margai children quickly found their way around the Dorton House campus. Pupils from Dorton also visited war-torn Sierra Leone, with 15-year-old pupil Kyle Jones meeting his pen pal Ibrahim Conti after a pen-friend correspondence of more than 3 years. Tim was proud of how the project broke boundaries and made stereotypes redundant. He said, "The beauty of the project is that the kids can't see colour. Race is such an abstract concept to them. Their friendships show you how to break through racism. They simply don't perceive each other as different." As well as being a photographer, Tim was also an accomplished filmmaker and co-directed the Oscar-nominated documentary Restrepo, which for 15 months followed a US Army platoon in Afghanistan. Tim Hetherington died on the 20th of April 2011, aged 40. Tim was a remarkable person, one in a million.
Feeling good. July the 24th marked the last day of the 2010-2011 academic year. A day when parents, teachers and students met each other to say hello and, in some cases, farewell, as the children departed for the summer or for the rest of their lives beyond education at the RLSB's Dorton House campus. To mark the day, the campus was transformed into a festival of achievement. Prizes were awarded for personal and academic progress over the year, and some of the learners gave musical performances to an audience of hundreds. Among the performers was final year student Sam Obigbasan, aged 20, who lost his sight at the age of 11. Sam gave an impassioned rendition of Nina Simone's Feeling Good, a song about setting forth in life refreshed and confident, reflecting Sam's ambition to become an author, singer or songwriter. An example of someone who has realised ambitions akin to Sam's is an American singer-songwriter, Raul Midon. Raul has produced a string of highly acclaimed albums and has worked with musical greats like Stevie Wonder. A twin, Raul and his brother were born in 1966, but were blinded after spending time in an incubator without adequate eye protection. The brothers attended a school for blind young people in Mexico City between the ages of 5 and 15. And while his brother made his way to a career with NASA, Raul chose to go down a more artistic path. Ambition. With Raul touring Europe, it made sense to connect him with Sam, and they were able to chat during the sound check at the London date of his tour. Raul willingly describes the brave decision he took at just 15 to leave the safe environment of the blind school and enter mainstream education. "I was in a blind-friendly environment," he said. "I voluntarily left, which proved positive in lots of ways, as there were things I just wasn't learning. I needed to live in the world we have, not the world we wish we had." Nevertheless, his courage did not go unchallenged. "Over 50% of the teachers told me I'd be back," said Raul. Being a successful pop musician, Raul makes full use of technology to create and record music. Technology has made the world much more accessible to blind people, and learning how to get the most out of it is an essential skill, advises Raul. Technology. "When I started out, the only technology I had was cassettes. I used them for everything. I taped my lessons, my thoughts and my music." As we chatted, Raul's JAWS software read out his calendar for the following week from his smartphone. Technology is a great leveller, but getting access to it can be expensive. RLSB raises money for young people to get access to technology, and we always need more support to enable more of it to get into the hands of young, visually impaired people. At this point, Sam tackled Raul with his questions. "What was the first thing you did to start your career?"
First of all, just getting good at music. practicing, being diligent about working on my sound. Secondly, I got out there. I did gigs. I got used to playing in public, sometimes for free. And then I made it to being a session musician. When you feel confident, there are open stages that just feature singer-songwriters that you can start performing at publicly.
Did you need to go on TV to be successful?
TV is a big thing. You don't get on TV without a big machine behind you. As Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson's producer, once said, "You've got to get good before you go over."
Did you find it hard to get paid work?
If you're good, you'll always find paid work.
RLSB then asked Raoul if he had any practical advice for young visually impaired people who want to achieve their ambitions. He replied, "Firstly, you have to try and seek out the people who are positive about what you want to do and avoid those who are negative. There is nothing worse than negative energy, especially when there are always reasons you can't do something. Secondly, technology. Be a skilled user of technology. There is so much of it out there for blind people today. JAWS, VoiceOver, Skype, email. Thirdly, be prepared to take a risk. This is extremely important. When I moved to New York at the age of 36 to try to make it in the most difficult industry in the world, I needed to be able to say that I had tried to be my own artist. You have to take a risk to get what you want." It was great to get Sam and Raoul connected. Sam was impressed by Raoul's advice, and when he has his first demo tape ready, Sam plans to send it to him for his feedback. For us at the RLSB, it is a reminder of our aim to help people achieve their maximum potential. For many visually impaired people, Raoul's story will be an inspiration. Raoul's story is about determination, remaining positive, and successfully adapting to meet life's challenges. Raoul is next in the UK in October, where Sam hopes to see him perform. You can find out more about Raoul at www.raoulmidon.com. Technology has made the world much more accessible to blind people.
Music for me is what colours are for a sighted person. Music plays an important part in the life of 20-year-old student Sam Obigbason. As a person without sight, sounds are the next best thing, he says. Talking to Raoul was really interesting. I got some good tips from him. Most important of all was to keep at it and try to perform everywhere I can as often as I can. Singing Feeling Good at my graduation was bittersweet. I love the song, and it's really upbeat and summery and very positive, but the contrast is that I was worried about leaving Dorton. Sam is embarking on a degree in creative writing at the University of Greenwich, and this new beginning has left him feeling slightly anxious. Greenwich is a totally different experience, says Sam. I've had a few mobility lessons now, and Greenwich isn't anything like Sevenoaks, he laughs. There are tourists everywhere, and noise and cars beeping, and although this is an exciting new chapter for me, it's also daunting, and that's why I sang Feeling Good. However, Sam's time at Dorton House has left him feeling confident that he can deal with whatever life throws his way. Since I went to Dorton, I've learnt so much, from language and communications through to music and independence skills. Living on my own gave me a great measure of myself, and I can take all that with me to university. However, the support from the RLSB doesn't end when a student graduates, though, explained Sam. I need a note-taker for university, and the RLSB is helping me to find one, and they're really helping me with the transition to university life. No matter what, music will always be an intrinsic part of Sam's life. Music for me is what colours are for a sighted person. To be able to express myself through either playing the piano or singing is important for me. Music makes things a bit more vivid. I couldn't imagine myself without a melody or a rhythm.
Students Help for Heroes. Student volunteers at the Dorton campus radio station, Dorton Radio, have raised more than £130 for Help for Heroes. Teenage students Declan Dexter and Justin Cunningham conducted a 24-hour radio show with listeners contacting the duo to request songs and donate money. We decided to raise money for Help for Heroes as it is close to our hearts due to losing a close personal friend to the war in Afghanistan, they said. Dorton College media technician Dale Walker said, "Conducting a 24-hour radio show in aid of Help the Heroes was a fantastic achievement for Declan and Justin. Both learners are visually impaired, and despite having their own difficulties, they have the passion and drive to rise above their disabilities and raise much-needed funds for a cause close to their hearts. Their dedication to a fantastic 24 hours of live broadcasting was inspiring and caught the imagination of RLSB Dorton Radio listeners, staff, friends and family alike. managing to raise above and beyond their target of £50. Declan and Justin should feel very proud of their achievement. A key aim of the RLSB's approach to learner development is to encourage empathy and altruism in order to become a rounded individual in society. Stuart hits the airwaves. In June, Dorton Radio was visited by Stuart, a resident from Peppenbury, a charity that supports people with learning disabilities. After finding Dorton Radio online, Stuart became an avid listener and sent his requests on a regular basis. RLSB media technician Del Walker gave Stuart the opportunity to attend a radio workshop at Dorton Radio's base at Dorton House. Del Walker said, "It was very successful. Stuart had a wonderful time taking to the airwaves as a guest presenter live on Dorton Radio, playing his favourite music to his friends at Peppenbury Residential Home. He was brought to tears when listening back to the recording of his special show." Entertaining the elderly. Residents at St Andrew's Court Sheltered Housing in Southborough, Kent, were entertained by students from Dorton College and the Dorton Radio Roadshow recently. Audience members chose music by their favourite performers and were treated to numbers by Susan Boyle and Shirley Bassey. St Andrews is one of the Town and Country Housing Group's sheltered schemes, and support manager Jane Comerford said the residents were amazed by the talents of the students, who were all blind or partially sighted. She said, "The students were brilliant, both with the music and with the way they entertained the residents, who all really enjoyed the day." You can find out more and listen live at www.rlsb.org.uk/Dorton-radio.
Make a difference in a very special way. Every year, some of our supporters make a very special gift by leaving a legacy to the RLSB in their will. Sarah Dean, the RLSB's legacy manager, talks to us about this area of fundraising and what it really means to leave a legacy. For those who may not be familiar, what is a legacy?
A legacy is the name for a gift left in a will. It could be a specific item, a sum of money, or part or all of a person's estate. It's simply one way in which to make a gift to charity. People can find making a will a daunting prospect, but it's actually usually fairly straightforward. It's an important way of looking after those you love, and also provides an opportunity to make a contribution to charity.
What inspired you to specialise in this area?
I originally trained as a solicitor and worked in a private client department of a large London city law firm. However, I didn't find private practice fulfilling and felt it was far too money-driven. I wanted to find a more meaningful career path, and a job advert in a local newspaper caught my eye. I applied straight away, that was more than 10 years ago, and have been with the RLSB ever since.
How would you describe an average day working on legacies left to the RLSB?
The first thing I would say is that there isn't really such a thing as an average day. Generally, I will work day to day on people's estates, liaising with solicitors and helping to promote legacy giving for the future.
What do you find most interesting about working on legacy cases?
I like the variety of cases I get the opportunity to work on, and they're all unique. One of the most interesting cases to date would include a lady who bequeathed her entire estate to the RLSB. She didn't have any close relatives, so I was actually sent her personal effects, amongst which I discovered some sheet music she'd composed in memory of one of her relatives who died as a young naval seaman during the Second World War. Her papers included the original 1940s newspaper article in which his death was reported. It was really moving.
How do you feel about those who leave gifts in their will?
We're so very grateful for the generosity of people who support us in this way. In the last year, we've received just over £1 million in legacy gifts, which makes an incredible difference to the lives of those for whom we care. Any gift, large or small, is a vital contribution. Legacy funds continue to contribute to a wide range of RLSB services, from nursery and school to adult peer support groups and classes in London. The care we're able to provide is the legacy of these special supporters, and is a lasting gift to generations to come.
Finally, what would you say to someone considering leaving a gift to the RLSB in their will?
Firstly, I would say thank you so very much for considering us in this way. With regard to practicalities, we would always recommend seeking professional advice to ensure that the will is prepared and executed correctly. There's lots more information on www.rlsb.org.uk/donate/legacies. If you have any queries or would like to see the work we do, we'd be delighted to welcome you to Dorton House to visit. And if you do decide to leave a legacy, we'd love to hear from you, so do please keep in touch.
If you're interested in finding out more or arranging a visit, you can contact Sarah on 01732 592 522 or email sarah.dean@rlsb.org.uk. We are so very grateful to the people who support us in this way. A year in Dorton, a year of insight. 3 students from Austria say their lives have been changed by a year of voluntary service at Dorton College of Further Education. 19-year-old Austrian students Alexander Berger, Andreas Mascher and Simon Spornberger have just finished a year-long spell as learning support assistants at Dorton College. The 3 teenagers joined Dorton under their country's Service Abroad scheme, which is available to its school leavers as an alternative to military service. My experiences working with young people at the Dorton campus will stay with me for the rest of my life, says Alexander, whose home is in Deutsche Wagram to the northeast of Vienna, Austria. Before I came here, I was never really into the world of blind and disabled children, but now I feel in touch with them and have come to know their characters and personalities. I now understand blind people so much better, how they feel, and how difficult normal everyday situations can become without eyesight. I will pay so much more attention to these things in future. Dorton College meets the educational needs of around 50 blind and partially sighted young people aged 16 to 25. Many of the students have a range of medical and other issues in addition to their visual impairment. Alongside academic studies and facilities for music and drama, the college has a radio station and a working farm, which is run mainly by the students themselves. Alexander says, all 3 of us have worked closely with the students, not just in the classroom but in the radio station and farm. One of the boys in my group was frightened of the chickens at first, but he gradually became used to the way the birds behave and feel. The students feed and water the birds, collect the eggs and box them and sell them as part of their learning. It all helps to build their confidence. The Austrian teenagers live on campus in their own accommodation, which is provided free as part of the Service Abroad project. I fell in love with Britain, says Andreas, who lives in the village of Baumgarten am Tullnefeld. The humour, the Premier League football, the pop culture, the language and the people. But coming to Dorton seemed almost like a leap in the dark, because I had never really worked with disabled children or children with special needs before. But the atmosphere here is so welcoming and kind-hearted. On my first day, the students all came up to me, introducing themselves and asking a bunch of questions. It might be because there is a history of Austrian students at Dorton going back a few years, but it really felt like home. Seeing students make progress, even in small things like writing a letter or learning to scramble eggs, gives you this huge feeling of satisfaction. It is the main reason why we are doing this. The Austrians returned at the beginning of September with fresh insight into the lives of young people less fortunate than themselves. When I see what disabilities and issues the students have, it is just amazing how they manage, says Simon, who lives near to Andreas in the town of Tulln an der Donau near Vienna. The progress is slower than in mainstream education, but it's always so rewarding when one of the students I am working with fulfills one of their targets. I am so glad I came here. It is an experience I will never forget. Find out more about what we do by visiting www.rlsb.org.uk. No smoke, but plenty of firemen. On a wonderful Saturday in July, fireman Harvey Dorling, Red Watch, Sevenoaks, married Georgina Warren in Dorton House's Thomas Lucas room, followed by celebrations in the hospitality suite, attended by more than 200 guests. Dorton House plays host to many different functions throughout the year, and conferences have been held here for South East Kent Ambulances, West Kent Housing Association, the Environment Agency, and Kent Fire and Rescue, to name a few. And of course, there are always plenty of weddings, family celebrations and milestone birthday parties. Keep us in mind when you next have something special to celebrate. The elegant rooms and spacious grounds make us the ideal venue for all seasons. Plus, all profits from our functions go directly to support the work of the Royal London Society for Blind People. For more information, call our hospitality team on 01732 592 511 or go to www.rlsb.org.uk/hospitality.
Dorton puts the fun in fundraising. In early July, Dorton House opened its doors once more for the RLSB's annual Family Fun Day. With thanks to sponsors Fidelity International, the day was officially opened by Lennox Cato from the BBC's Antiques Roadshow and boasted a fantastic array of entertainment, From Galactic Knights to medieval archery, Punch and Judy, Spikey our new RLSB dragon, a children's martial arts demonstration and dozens of traditional stalls. There was even a hog roast to satisfy the hungry hordes. Mr. Cato said of the day, "It was an honour to be part of a day that raises funds for such a special place." Raising over £10,500 for the blind and partially sighted young people in our care, the day was a brilliant success and attracted over 1,000 visitors. Thank you to all those who came to support us. We look forward to another great day in 2012. Go Team Varium! A huge thank you to Varium employees Ben Moffat and Sue Torrance, who ran the Virgin London Marathon for the RLSB on Sunday, July the 17th. This year marked both Ben and Sue's third marathon run for the RLSB, where Sue achieved an impressive time of 3 hours 44 minutes. This year Ben's fiancée Alison Watkins also ran, raising additional funds for the Society. A huge thank you to our intrepid athletes. Extra special thanks go to RLSB trustee and Managing Director of Varium, Roy Moffat, for raising an incredible £12,500. This contribution will go a long way towards supporting blind and partially sighted young people in gaining skills with which to lead independent lives, and is an inspiration to us all. The RLSB Royal Reception at Kensington Palace, Tuesday the 15th of November. On the evening of Tuesday the 15th of November, we will hold a unique event in the State Apartments at Kensington Palace. In the presence of our patron, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Gloucester, guests will enjoy a wonderful evening with champagne and canapes, followed by inspirational speakers, very special musical entertainment, and a private view of the Enchanted Palace exhibition. Tickets are £125, limited spaces available. The Dorton House Winter Ball, Saturday the 19th of November. This exclusive Sevenoaks event in aid of the Royal London Society for Blind People is in memory of the inspirational Howard Hughes, chair of the Society between 2000 and 2005. Join us for a very special evening of sumptuous food and superb entertainment in the stunning surroundings of Dorton House. Guests will enjoy a champagne reception, string quartet, 3-course dinner, wine and musical performances. Tickets are £100 each or £950 for a table of 10. The Pink Cloud Tea Party and Fashion Show, Friday the 2nd of December. This unique ladies' event incorporates a stylish afternoon tea with entertainment and guest speakers. 3 Sevenoaks boutiques will showcase their spring collections on a purpose-built catwalk, and renowned designer from the world of couture, Caroline Morris, will run an optional millinery workshop where our guests will have the opportunity to create their own bespoke fascinator. Champagne will be available. Tickets £25 each. Reserve your place today. RLSB Running and Challenge Events 2012. Are you interested in running, trekking or even jumping out of a plane for the RLSB? We'd love to hear from you. We have a limited number of places available in the London and Brighton marathons, both in April 2012, and we'll be launching a range of new and exciting challenge events in time for spring. To apply for your place in the London or Brighton marathon, or to find out more, please contact our event staff who will support you every step of the way. For more information on RLSB events, please contact laura.hamer@rlsb.org.uk or kelly.ralph@rlsb.org.uk.
Sweet marks start of a new academic year. The RLSB are delighted to announce the completion of the brand new Bradbury Suite. As part of a strategic development by the RLSB, existing buildings on the Dorton House College site were converted into a high dependency unit for blind and partially sighted people with multiple disabilities, most of whom will be wheelchair users. As the Bradbury Suite is also a residential unit, the young people will be able to participate in our existing training, educational and social activities. The Bradbury Suite provides state-of-the-art accommodation, allowing a high degree of independence, including purpose-built rooms, electronic beds, wider doors and rise and fall adjustable kitchen surfaces. Completed 2 months ahead of schedule, the total cost of the project was nearly £400,000, with more than £300,000 secured through trust funding. It's great to see this year's students already enjoying their new accommodation. Collaboration. Another exciting Trust's achievement this year is the new 12-month programme in partnership with St Thomas Hospital and Moorfields Eye Hospital. The collaboration aims to help families overcome barriers caused by the impact of their children's newly diagnosed visual impairment by providing drop-in services as well as information, advice and guidance. Services will include specialist treatment, support services, advocacy, aids and access technology. Both hospitals attract patients from across London and other parts of the country and will give families and carers access to the guidance and support they need. As many as 130 people are expected to benefit from these new RLSB services in the first year, with around 70 from St Thomas's Low Vision Unit and 60 from Moorfields Children's Eye Clinic. Both hospitals are world leaders in clinical care, research, teaching and education, and can provide treatments not available anywhere else in the UK. The RLSB is very excited about these new partnerships and have high hopes for the future. A huge thank you to the following funders for their contributions this year: the Bradbury Foundation, Hong Kong, the Worshipful Company of Cordwainers, the Bernard Sunley Charitable Foundation, Collier Ferguson Charitable Trust, the Adint Charitable Trust, and the W.O. Street Charitable Foundation.
Ksenia's getting on with a new life. Little Ksenia Oliver was born with a serious visual impairment due to congenital cataracts and glaucoma in both eyes. Her very early years were difficult and frustrating for both Ksenia and her family. By the time she visited our Dorton House nursery, she was very nervous and uncommunicative. Ksenia and her parents attended a drop-in day at the nursery last year. The experience went so well that she started to attend the nursery in September 2010. The improvement in her development since then has been remarkable. Ksenia has now blossomed into a confident and inquisitive little 4-year-old who is eager to learn and loves life. The improvement in her dexterity and speech has transformed her life in a very short time. She's in a hurry to catch up with all the learning experiences she has missed. Ksenia and her family have benefited from the assisted placement scheme that our valued supporters have helped to provide. However, we would find it desperately difficult to continue to help Ksenia or any of the other blind and partially sighted people we care for without your continued generosity. We know how crucial it is for our learners for us to go beyond providing just the basic care a young person with visual impairment needs. The learning experience, developmental nurturing and confidence building our expert staff provide is vital and is something that is very rare to find in other similar establishments in the country. It would be simply wonderful if you could continue to support our work. If you would like to donate, please go to www.rlsb.org.uk/donate or call 01732 592 500 for more information. Thank you.